My name's Andre Tempest. I'm the current owner of Victor XL231 Lusty Lindy, and I've owned the aeroplane since November '93 when it was decommissioned from the Royal Air Force. Right, basically going around the flight deck of the Victor, this is the co-pilot's instrument panel. This is the Smith's military flight system, used in the Victor and also in the Vulcan. Starting at the right here, we have got the altimeter, which is a powered altimeter. Coming into the middle, we've got the artificial horizon, which most people will recognise from other types of aircraft. This is slightly different to most, so it was used in the Vulcan and the Victor. To the left of it, we've got the airspeed indicator. To the left of that, the Mach meter. Coming down, we've got the vertical speed indicator, the beam compass, and to the right of that, we've got the ADF and the TACAN system. Coming to the right of that, we have the nose up and nose down trim indicator, which you can see operating there. Flight refueling pressure through the flight refueling probe on the front, on top of the cockpit. Outside air temperature gauge, and below that, the cabin altimeter. Right, coming on to the main cone wing panel, which is the main panel on top of the main instrument panel. Here we have the roll and yaw dampers. We have the air brake indicator, which is currently indicating shut, emergency hydraulic selector, and we also have the flap indicator, which is currently at the takeoff position, which is normally left at that position due to standard operating procedures. Below that we have the accelerometer. To the right of that we've got the 3-axis trim indicators. We have the rudder, the elevators and the ailerons, all in the neutral positions and powered as they should be. To the right of that we have the pitot head heaters and also the artificial feel system for the flying control heaters. Coming across to the right of those we have the powered flying control units, switches and visual reference lights. Switching the rudder on, so the rudder is now operable and powered. 2 motors for the rudder. Coming to the right of that we have the main undercarriage indicator, indicating 3 greens, undercarriage down and locked. To the right of that we've got the Mach trimmer, the auto trim, autopilot, which is currently not in use, JPT control, jet pipe temperature controller, and the windscreen heat, de-ice or demist. Coming up onto the top panel here, this is the main master fire warning panel. You've got your basic engine internal fire warnings and engine detonator fire press buttons. In the event of an engine fire, these buttons will illuminate. The pilot will press the button and basically that will fire the fire extinguishers into the offending engine. To the right you've got the basic airframe fire warnings. Again, these are actually automatic systems. The detection system will pick the fire up and the appropriate system will actually operate automatically. Coming down below the main combing panel, we come down to the engine instrumentation. Each engine has a rev counter in percentage, a jet pipe temperature indication and an oil pressure indication, along with warning lights for low fuel pressure and low oil pressure. When the system is depressurised, these lights are on. When the systems are running, these lights are out. To the left of the number 3 RPM indicator is the parking brake light, which means the parking brake is on. To the left of that is the main undercarriage up and down selection, and also the emergency nitrogen blowdown system should the hydraulic system fail. Below that, the flap selection quadrant, up, take up and down, 3-position system, and to the right of that the emergency flaps down system, which is also a nitrogen operated system. Coming down below the engine indication panel we come to the fuel control panel. There are 5 fuel groupings. We have the port wing, the fuselage, starboard wing, and the two bomb bay tanks, which basically were put in for the tanker conversion program. Below those we have the main fuel schematic for the aeroplane, fuel pumps and fuel valves, low pressure fuel cocks, etc. Below the main fuel panel we come to the Mark 10 autopilot. This again was also used in the Vulcan. To the right of the automatic pilot are the two brake pressure indication gauges, two systems, both normally indicating 4,000 pounds each. Coming up onto the roof here we have the engine start selection panel. The start master is a 4-position switch. Flight ground AAPP, which is the airborne auxiliary power plant, or the combust start. We have the ignition switch here, and also 4 engine selector buttons. And that would be the normal selection for a number 1 engine start. To the left of the captain's control column is the captain's oxygen regulator. To the left of that is the main panel for the exterior lighting and landing lamps for the aircraft, and also the emergency fuel jettison switches. Below that panel we come down to the throttle quadrant. The Victor is fairly unique in that sense because the captain and the co-pilot both have their own set of throttles, which is fairly unconventional because most aircraft tend to have throttles mounted in the centre. Behind the throttles we have the main trim control, which again is duplicated for the co-pilot, and behind that we have the radio control box for... We're now at the Air Electronics Officers panel, the AEO. Starting on the main AEO panel we have the auxiliary power unit control panel here, and also the auxiliary power unit air intake scoop, which we're going to put into the retract position. Below this we have the emergency ram air turbine indications, volts and frequency. To the right we have the main electrical generation panel for the aircraft. We have 4 engines, we have an alternator for each engine, 2, 3 and 4, 200 volts, 400 cycles, AC power, and 28 volts DC, basic standard aircraft electrical systems. All these systems are paralleled as fail-safe measures. To the right of the panel you have the main DC circuit breaker panel. To the right of this we have the external intercom and internal intercom switches. Below that we have the 2 main hydraulic pump controls. The hydraulic pumps are actually electrically driven. And to the right the master fire warning test system.